Hey guys, it's my friend Trana. Welcome to another video, and today we are gonna be going full computer oriented. Today it may be a bit of a long video and I'll probably break it into parts, so yeah, let's get right into it. So today we are gonna be looking at different parts of the computers and their functions. Whether a laptop, mini computer, tower, or all-in-one, computers share common parts. Understanding these parts help you make an informed purchase, estimate the value of a repair, or simply better understand the tools literally at your fingertips. Further understanding how the parts work together helps narrow your choices when making upgrades or purchase decisions. The first part is the housing or the case. The housing is a part of your computer that holds all the parts that make the computer operate. In a desktop tower, the housing does not include a monitor, keyboard, or a mouse. An all-inclusive computer houses both a monitor and the components that make a computer function, but it does not include a mouse or keyboard. A laptop includes a monitor, keyboard, or mouse alternative like a touchpad, and the components that make the computer function. So it's like the components inside of your computer are the things that the functional part of your computer, and the outside is the physical representative of the functions inside. And then let's go into the motherboard. The motherboard is the part of your computer that wires all the other parts together. It is a printed circuit board, and it also includes the CPU and memory. Every component of your computer connects directly into the motherboard. It typically includes expansion options for high-end graphic displays and additional devices. Motherboard specifications are designed around which CPU your computer uses. For example, if your computer uses an Intel processor, you need an Intel-compatible motherboard, processor, or CPU. The processor or CPU of a computer is basically the brain of the computer. The processor is responsible for interpreting every code it receives from other computer components, making it usable to your operating system. Though it's simply a single chip, your processor's speed determines the overall speed of your computer. The CPU contains a control unit and the arithmetic logic unit, or ALU. Or now let's go into the memory. First, hard drive. The hard drive part of your computer is also known as the hard disk. Essentially, it's a part of your computer that stores your information. If you upload a picture to your computer, it's stored on the hard drive. The hard drive capacity is measured in megabytes or MB. Those are massive computers store in terabytes or TB. The hard drive is a set of disk platters that sit inside the computer housing. Though other devices may store data such as thumb drives, the hard drive is resident in your computer and cannot be removed. Now let's go into the things that you see are displays. Display adapter. Whether a graphics card or part of the motherboard, the display adapter is a component of your computer that interprets video signal that define how frequently your monitor refreshes, also known as refresh rate, how many colors the display supports, the maximum resolutions. Gaming adapters are the most high-end type. They are for 3D graphics and require significant power and cooling, like the one I have in my computer. Now, another part of the memory is also known as RAM. Random access memory, or RAM, is a part of your computer that is used as an instant memory. RAM is always in use as a temporary location to execute instructions from your computer. For example, if you run many programs at once, you may need to upgrade your RAM because your computer is using more memory. RAM comes in many different configurations such as dynamic RAM, DRAM, and SRAM, which runs at a higher speed. Optical drives. An optical drive uses light to read and write data. It is a drive that you use to burn CDs. Okay. Not burn CDs, which it means read CDs. Okay. DVDs and Blu-ray discs. Optical drives can be either slot loading or tray loading and come in different configurations. Optical drives connect directly to the motherboard of your computer. And now, as I told, I'll be not only seeing those, and we're going to be seeing different computers thing. So now let's go into another topic: the average lifespan of a desktop PC and what determines it. With a desktop computer, you might see as little as 3 years or as many as 8, depending on the quality of the machine, how often you upgrade, and how well you care for it. The longevity of your computer depends on the parts within. A desktop computer, that's a good thing. Desktops on average last longer than laptops because portability leads to accidents that can cause component damage, and because the lack of airflow leads to overheating in the components. Also, when a component breaks on a desktop, you can usually replace the part at a lower cost than replacing a computer. The whole computer, if you're looking at the computer as a whole, there's with no interest in upgrading or replacing parts, expect to get at least 3 years out of an average desktop computer. Jill Duffy of PC Magazine advises that even a low-end desktop computer should give you about 5 years of solid use before it begins to break down. If you are using a high-end computer with better components, you could go as high as 7 years. Best practices: the better you care for your desktop, the longer it's gonna last. That is, as we know, always true. Don't leave the tower on the floor and avoid placing it in corners near obstructions like furniture and curtains. All of these can lead to overheating, both by introducing more dust and debris into your computer and by blocking the vents that help airflow. Clean out your computer regularly with a can of compressed air to remove dust. Keep a computer at room temperature and avoid areas with high humidity whenever possible. Extreme climate conditions can cause your computer to wear out faster. Keep an up-to-date antivirus program on your computer and regularly remove useless files to ensure that your hard drive continues to run as efficiently as possible. Install operating system updates when they're released to improve performance and security. Hard drive. Of all the parts in your computer that are likely to fail, the hard drive is the most common. The type of hard drive typically installed in a desktop computer is a hard disk drive, or HDD. These drives contain spinning platters that store all of a computer's data, which is modified by moving heads that read and write the data. All of these precisely designed moving parts can be damaged by sudden movement, extreme heat, and but anyway, an HDD is inexpensive, with prices well under $1 per gigabyte. Some run as low as 5 cents per gigabyte. $1 translates to 65 or 68 Indian rupees, and 5 cents is just it's just 100 cents is equal to $1, so 5 cents is a small part of $1. A solid state drive or SSD uses flash memory similar to that of a USB flash drive and uses no mechanical parts. These drives are smaller and more expensive, typically more than $2 per gigabyte, but will typically keep a peak performance for 5 years or more before beginning to slow down. These drives are faster and more responsive than HDD. And RAM. Of all of the components in your computer, your RAM is the least likely to break down. According to Lexer, which manufactures RAM and other memory products, your RAM could last decades, much longer than the computer it's installed in. However, RAM can become corrupt by regular computer use. RAM failure can knock out your entire system, but sticks can be replaced as easy as a hard drive. The lifespan of a motherboard has less to do with failure and more to do with obsolescence. The motherboard facilitates communication between all the components that make up your computer and has certain limitations. While upgrading your RAM can breathe a bit more life into an old computer, your motherboard is limited to how much RAM it can process and what type of RAM it uses. Motherboards are also limited to a specific type of processor, locking you into the family of processors for upgrades. As your computer ages, you may find that your motherboard cannot handle the newest and fastest components. Eventually, this begins to limit the software you can install. So for the final topic of this video, differences between the CPU and the motherboard. The inside of a computer's case contains some components which each perform roles. The motherboard allows a large flat piece of silicon, while the CPU, central processing unit, is a chip installed on the motherboard. And I want to get this quick, so let's go. Motherboard basics. In addition to the CPU, the motherboard has a lot of slots for RAM installed in 6. RAM is used temporarily for rapid storage and retrieval of data, as I told before. CPU basics. The CPU is the brain of your computer, as I told. Popular manufacturers such as Intel and AMD, Advanced Micro Devices. The CPU typically has a larger heatsink and fan on it, but the motherboard is usually cooled by the normal fans that you have and liquid cooling if you have anything like that. And heatsinks are fans. Heatsinks are thin blocks of metal, usually aluminum or copper, used to remove heat from the CPU more quickly. And a charged fan then blows the heat away from the heatsink, and they use something called thermal paste to evenly distribute the heat so that it doesn't go into a specific points, which may easily overheat it. And the motherboard architecture. The motherboard contains copper traces, which are thin threads of metal that the board uses to transmit information or electricity. These traces are printed into the board and create circuits, hence printed circuit board or PCB. CPU architecture. A CPU meanwhile is created in a fabrication plant, a fab, on wafers. These wafers are not eating wafers, but these wafers are sheets of CPUs. The CPU also contains millions, sometimes billions, of transistors that are used to perform millions of instructions per second that are sent to the copper traces on the motherboard. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to hit that like button, be sure to comment and subscribe, and click that little bell so that you get notified whenever I upload a video and don't miss out on anything. And see you in the other video.